Hi, Oshri. Welcome. Hi, everyone. We're having a speaker series today with Oshri Hakak in honor of Suicide Prevention Month. He is an author, a musician, and I would say a community healer. And he's going to read a book that he recently wrote called Stay Alive. And he's going to share this book with us now. Welcome, Oshri.
Thank you very much. It's really an honor to be with you. Thank you.
Amazing. Okay, so Oshri, I think if you'd like to share your screen and we'll just jump right into reading the book. And then if you'll stay with us, we're going to have a little Q&A afterward. And Oshri's going to share some of his thoughts and his inspirations about why he wrote this book. So go ahead, Oshri.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, the book is called Stay Alive. And I wrote it and it's illustrated by my friend Andrea Ceballos García. And go ahead and start the book. It's dedicated to anyone who doesn't feel like being here. Stay alive because flowers. And because sunshine. And also mountains and the beach. Plus animals. Friends and hugs too. Hugs and friends, yet unmet. At least one or two wait ahead, I bet. Great conversations still await you ahead, with guidance to hear and guidance to share. Also, sitting. There's also the wonderful release of going pee, probably. So even if you're not feeling so lively, stay alive. Eventually, the pain might fit on a shelf, maybe near the tea or the cookie elf. And if you don't have a shelf, maybe one day you will. For now, you can put it in a pocket or a pouch, next to some cool rocks or leaves, even while your heart heals and grieves. I almost forgot, you have some breaths and heartbeats too. You've got breaths to come that can open worlds of possibility and release the stuff that's yucky and goopy. Some heartbeats that can fuel the planting of new gardens and great forests of wonder and love, or forests of actual trees. And music. You might make some or listen. They are equally important. So stay with us. Because if you study the weather, you'll notice no storm lasts forever. And things get better. So feel what you feel as a tree feels a drought before rain, or as the moon feels the darkness of its monthly wane. whoever you are and wherever you are, know that you are loved. You are precious to me. I'm here for you. I love you. The end.
Thank you,
Thank
Oshri.
you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. Um, it's a very heavy subject matter, but I think for me, the beautiful imagery and your words were able to capture such an amazing call to action to stay alive. And so, can you share a little bit about what inspired you to write this book?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I wrote it when I was going through some very dark moments, a little more than a year and a half ago. And kind of the thought, oh, I should write a book about this. I was feeling really down and depressed, basically, and I would take these walks along the ocean where I was staying, and this thought came. It was like the ocean brought this thought. It was like, oh, I should write a book about this, and it made me laugh because it was so kind of like, because I usually write lighthearted children's books, and I was feeling horrible, and so like that just felt so ridiculously incongruent, like the heaviness of the subject matter, and just like my kind of frequent lighter spirit, and it made me laugh. It picked me up a bit, and um, and then I reflected it with a friend, like kind of casually, like, hey, I had an idea. This. It was almost more I was appreciating the joke of it than it being an actual idea. And he said, hey, you should actually write that book. Did you know I had attempted to take my life in high school? He said. And I said, whoa, I would have never have guessed. And unfortunately, then there's also been people in my orbit who have taken their lives in the last couple of years, as there have been for so many people. Um, the process of creating it has been really healing, and I would just say that um, the drive behind it, but besides just my own, it feels good to kind of transmute that depression, that heaviness through this. Where it comes to sense as people when we're really in that deep, heavy pain, it means that we're feeling, right? And if we're feeling, it means that we're sensitive. And if we're sensitive, that means that we're aware. And we really need people who are aware right now, because like there's a lot of stuff that's just not. It needs some awareness and tending. So we need you around. You know, need you around if you're feeling that. And we particularly need you around because it means you have an idea that things aren't exactly chipper everywhere. So that's my answer to that.
No, wow, that's an amazing answer, and thank you for sharing. And um, I believe that you're inspiring so many people just by having these conversations, right? Like you had this idea, and then you shared the idea with your friend, and then your friend opened up to you about a personal experience that they had that you never knew about prior to you saying, hey, what do you think about this idea? Right?
Yeah, right, Right, and it was a very vulnerable thing to share, the fact that my thoughts had gone there. People usually know me as like being really happy, and I just couldn't be. That moment was happening in my life. It just, wow, it was tough. And my go-to through most of my life, I would say, hasn't been like sharing and opening up like that, but I really had to. I'm lucky I had someone there to hear me.
Yeah.
The ocean was there to hear me a bit too. So,
I feel like in your book, you really parallel a lot of the subject matter to nature. And,
mm-hmm.
I love like if you study the weather, you know
Mm-hmm.
that no storm lasts forever. And so
Yeah.
even some of like also the cadence of the words rhyming kind of, just is like a little nugget you can put in your pocket and just like
Mm-hmm.
almost like this like little nursery rhyme that you can kind of, or a mantra that you can say that's easy to remember. And there's for me, it's like walking this line of joy and pain at the same time. And they're so close, aren't they? Like you were saying, these people feel, so deeply, and you really captured that, I think. So what was the maybe your inspiration besides walking next to the beach and seeing nature, but having that be so aligned with the visual imagery and your words?
Mm. Well, I think those, so the visuals in the book were really, I had actually started to illustrate it myself. And then there's an artist who I had followed on Instagram for a while. She's in Spain. We have never met in person.
Wow.
That's Andrea, and I love her art, and I find it so uplifting and elevating, and like the way she depicts nature and the lightness of spirit of her work. I had asked her if she was interested in illustrating something with me, and then I reached out, and then I thought of this book, and almost similarly, like the heaviness of the subject really complemented like that lightness and vibrancy of her work really well, and also her appreciation of nature,
Mhm.
natural spaces and colors. Um, is that what you were getting at there? Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
I thought it was beautiful. The imagery was beautiful, and
yeah.
I loved hearing too how technology in some way offered a sense of community for you too. So the kind of like that balance of
Yeah.
being outdoors
Mm,
having that tangible like nature, bathe in, next to
yeah,
the ocean or the trees or whatnot. But yet you also found this great partner in your
yeah.
artistic endeavor that you found on Instagram, that you followed her, and she was across the world, and you were
Hmm.
able to connect together and make this beautiful, um, creative, impactful book for people. So I think
Yeah.
that's so cool.
Thanks. Yeah, it was interesting because it is interesting because that social media and tech that it can really drain our spirit sometimes. We can really just pour too much into it. But I feel like there can be a good use when it's like a collaborative use, when it's healthy and in balance. Because without it, this project never would have come out. So maybe there's just a little bit here and like where lies the problem, there also lies solution when we apply our awareness, consciousness to it as much as possible. And I gave her very little guidance for, she has a character in the book that's kind of like me, like that was all her. Like I've sent her the text basically, and she sent back these images, and I was like stunned. And we like did a little back and forth, but it was like all her visuals. It was like very little. Um, it's like all her. Yeah, she's amazing.
That's so great. That's so
Yeah.
great. So how do our communities find this book? How can we share this book with them?
Yeah. Well, it's on my website. That's butterflyonbooks.com. Spelled like butterfly on books, butterflyonbooks.com. Also, you can get to it through my Instagram. That's just my full name, Oshri. And my goal now, I don't think I'll regret saying this later, but my goal right now is to share it in as many places as can be useful. So like there are places I've donated copies to. Like if someone can't afford it and thinks it would be helpful, then like my default is I'll donate copies. And if people can pay for it, it does help keep things moving so that I can buy copies too. Um, but yeah, it can come right through my website or Instagram, which will go to my website.
Great. And we'll share all of that too with our community. Um, we'll put that in our post so everyone can find that all that information. Um, One thing I wanted to bring up is that in the first page of the book, there's a dedication, and I believe it was for anyone who doesn't want to be here right now.
Mhm.
And I loved that you said right now too, so that these feelings may be temporary. I
Yeah,
thought that was a great, and then you kind of said for the reader, please note that this is for mature audiences.
yeah,
And I just wanted to let you know that I'm a mom, and I shared it with my two young daughters who, are under the age of 12. I have an 11 and a 7-year old, and um, they had they loved it. They thought it was amazing, and they understood. And I wanted to compliment you for creating something that really spoke to the human spirit and that wasn't maybe set to a specific age group.
yeah. Thanks. And I put that note there because I know the topic is heavy,
Yeah.
and I think, I've had some other friends who've read it to young kids, and it's okay if, as long as
Parent.
the parent is comfortable with it and they know that they're sharing it, and they may be opening up a topic that that it might require some further conversation.
Right.
I didn't want to just, because it absolutely looks like a children's book, and I didn't want someone to inadvertently be halfway through the book and be like, I didn't mean to share about this with my
Yeah.
6-year-old or my
Yeah.
8-year-old, whatever it was. So, yeah, I think that that was just to guide the adults along to be able to choose whether it was something they wanted to open up with the kid.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's obviously very, very smart and appropriate to have that note. But it's also great to know that I think that it is so impactful, and the statistics are so staggering, right? That suicide is the second leading cause of death for ages 10 to 14. I mean, that's just it's staggering. So
Yeah.
to have another resource out there for young people, it's wonderful, and for anyone, it's appropriate for anyone.
Oh.
Well, Oshri, are any last thoughts or anything that you'd like to share with our community?
Um, well, be happy to. I'm just working on sharing this book as much as I can where it's helpful. So, my contact info is going to be here. People feel free to reach out. This is like a matter dear and near to my heart. So, yeah, thank you so much for having me here. I really am grateful.
Absolutely. I think we'll be seeing lots more of you. So grateful to have you as a community member and just thank you for your work.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take care, Oshri. Till next time.
Take care.